Hello and greetings from InWorldz. There's my avatar, Neo Toy Story, just chilling in the lawn chair there. This is the InWorldz welcome area, I guess you would call it. This video is an introduction to a project that I want to undertake, which is basically to do a sort of modular documentary of all the Sims in InWorldz. I got a couple of reasons for doing this, which I'll be explaining shortly, but the main reason is just because I love to explore virtual worlds. I think you see things that are unique and that they would basically not be possible or found anywhere else in the whole world or anywhere on the internet. So that's sort of the advantage I see there. The reason I want to do a documentary is because virtual worlds are very transient. This has become very clear to me recently. I made a video a couple months ago of a really huge complex of Sims that someone had done in Second Life, and basically for whatever reason they couldn't pay the rent, and so it's all gone now, and it's like it never even existed, all that time and energy, and it's like it never even existed. I think that's kind of a shame because, like, for example, I was at a sim just last night in InWorldz, and I was talking to the owner, and they told me that they'd been working for 8 months straight on this one build, and it was really a fantastic, beautiful build, and just the idea of that kind of disappearing is really kind of sad, I think. So I think documenting these Sims is kind of a nice thing, just to have them for posterity or whatever. Not that it's all going to be good, because my policy for documenting them is going to be completely unbiased. I'm going to just systematically go from one sim to the next, whether there's nothing at all there, whether if it's just ground or if there's a huge metropolis there. I'm going to try to equally document each sim, and I'm going to be brutally honest. If I think the sim is shit, I'm going to say as much, and I will point out exactly what I think is not working, and if I really like it, I will be sure to point that out too. Alright, so the economics, just this is FYI, the economics is pretty interesting. This is the world map, this is the grid, these little boxes here that kind of look like giant pixels. Each one of those is a sim, also known as a region. It's a very large piece of land, and you can buy these from InWorldz, or in Second Life you can buy them as well. They're basically the same size. But just to give you an idea of the money that's involved, in Second Life you'll pay $1,000, that's USD, for the setup cost of just to own one of these regions, and then you will pay $295 a month just to have the privilege of keeping that land. InWorldz is a lot more competitive. I mean, obviously, if you're going to own a sim, you'd want to go with InWorldz because it's so much cheaper. It's $75 setup fee, and then you pay $75 a month. But from my point of view, both of those are way too expensive. Like, I pay $40 a year for web hosting, and I really don't see a huge difference between hosting of a website and hosting of a virtual land. I think that the load, the cost to the provider is essentially the same in both cases, and essentially you're just streaming data. You know, you've got images, geometry, audio, video, etc. It's just data in both cases. So why does it cost $75 a month for one service while it costs $40 a year for another? I don't fully understand that, and so I'm waiting for the day when virtual land is competitive from my point of view, which is like the same cost as web hosting. I think it would be great if developers, or providers, I should say, uh, had an ad-supported option where you could basically have an entire sim that would perhaps be populated with strategically placed billboards or something that would have streaming advertising on them, so that basically you would have that land for free, as long as you didn't tamper with the advertising. I think that would be a good compromise for virtual worlds. Of course, it puts the burden of contracting the advertising onto the provider, but at the same time, it also could potentially increase their revenue quite significantly. Although who knows, they might be making money hand over fist from this current system. I mean, obviously, if you look at the world map, there's a lot of sims. If you think every one of these is generating $75 a month, that's a heck of a lot of money. But then again, there's quite a significant overhead for keeping all the servers running and so forth. Okay, so I think it's also worth mentioning that you don't have to buy an entire sim. You can also buy parts of a sim, very small pieces of land that cost a lot less. And finally, oh well, there's one other thing I did want to mention, and that's that I've used Second Life and InWorldz. Well, I've used Second Life ex extensively, and I'm new to InWorldz, and I would like to say that I think that overall the quality of building in InWorldz is significantly better than on average than in Second Life, and I think that's because there's a smaller population and the users are a lot more dedicated, because many of them are refugees from Second Life who really were unsatisfied with the level of service, but they're all really hardcore content creators and they're very good at what they do. So I think that's advantageous for this series of documentaries, because quite frankly it's a lot more fun to look at quality builds than it is to the crap that really kind of is sort of the status quo in the Second Life grid. Yeah, and so lastly, I would just say I would encourage everyone who, if you see these videos and you like what you see, definitely you should, instead of vicariously experiencing the grid from through my videos, I would say download the viewers and go to the sims yourself and check them out in first person, because it's an experience like no other. And so yeah, that's pretty much everything I had to say. Got my press credentials. I'm ready to start filming. That should happen pretty soon. I'm hoping to do one a week. We'll see if I can handle that. And thanks for watching. Hopefully I'll see you out there on the grid somewhere.